It is Thursday, November 10th, 2022. This is a regular monthly meeting of the Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority. It is 5:06 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Lawrence, do you have any letters or communications to the board?
Just the board read file is basically a number of articles that probably everybody's seen, but just to bring them to your attention. One thing I would like to mention here is that we did get an award from the Association for Bridge Constructors and Design, and it was in recognition of outstanding contribution and achievements to the bridge industry. It was presented to the Augsburg Bridge and Port Authority for the Augsburg Bridge, Prescott International Bridge, U.S. Approach Painting, Steel Repair, and deck floor beam replacement in 2021. So we have we'll pass that around, but it was we entered our project there earlier in the in the year, and we were notified that in September. So
Congratulations.
good.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
very nice.
So just wanted to bring that to your attention. Other than that, no other letters or anything like that.
Good. So now the pressure's on, Jim. We got to get one of those every year.
Very nice.
Nice. Excellent. In case Megan comes in. Okay. Approval of the minutes. We have the minutes for October 11th, 2022. Have they been reviewed by the secretary or secretary designee? Anyone?
Have you seen them?
Yeah.
No?
Then Dave hasn't gotten back to me on them.
Okay, then we'll have to put that in for the December meeting.
Okay.
Committee reports, Finance Committee? Chris?
We had a meeting of the Finance Committee, and I think that the reports show operations continuing in a routine and normal manner. I'm looking at the auto crossings right now and very pleased to see that our performance for the last month looks as if we're up to about 70% of 2019 for the most recent month. And I think that our financial reports show that kind of gradually returning revenue also. And the staff is working on preparing the budget for the new year, which we have to act on in December. And we anticipate reviewing a draft of the budget in our November meeting. And I think that that's the news. Patty, I don't know that there's anything else that you would want to add or highlight or explain to the other board members.
No, none of general news unless you'd like me to go through the statements. So do we need to?
Well, routinely you do, and I think it would be a good thing if we would just carry our regular routine.
Very good. If we look at the statement of financial position first, you'll notice that the accounts receivable wind turbine are way down. That is because the wind turbine project is essentially completed. So our accounts receivable are just coming to a close, and we only have about 500,000 left to bring in on the wind turbine project. Of our regular accounts receivable, 91% of our regular accounts receivable are either current or 1 to 31 days. So we're keeping a good track of our funds coming in the door. Our accounts payable, the only thing we have left are regular accounts payable. New York State Retirement has been completely paid off. The project accounts payable was paid off on the 14th of October. So we just right now have straight accounts payable to deal with, which is nice to look at. And we are We have, I think, all but $2,000 of the 2022 estimated New York State retirement bill in the bank already. So we are basically able to pay that when it comes due, and we can save I think it's 10% we get to save, or 5% we get to save on the invoice. We also have the money for our first two pieces of the Chrissy grant is already in the bank. Our third piece doesn't arrive until May of next year, so we have some time to collect our percentage of the third piece, but the first two pieces are in the bank. We're just waiting on the line of credit, which has been approved by Tompkins. So now we just have to go through the closing process, and the line of credit will be ready to go. And then if we look at our budget to actual, as Chris mentioned, we're starting to see not only the increase in number of cars, but we're beginning to see the revenue inch up for the bridge. Always remembering that it's not only bridge traffic revenue, but we do have the border station rent and the rent from the people here that is in the bridge revenue. We can see that we have fuel sales revenue of $303,000 at this point, with fuel sales expense at $312,000. The difference between those two is the fuel that's in the tank, the inventory. I checked the 1031 inventory just to give us an idea. There was just over 11,000, between 11 and 12,000 gallons of Jet A fuel in the tanks at 1031. If we multiply that times $7 a gallon, which is what we currently sell fuel at, we would have an additional $82,000 in the income account. So the difference that we'll always have here is what's in the tank that hasn't been sold. And that we deal with only once a year for the audit at year end. So that is only adjusted come the end of the year. The wind turbine projects are, for the most part, done. And so we did make a little bit more money than we expected, and our expenses were less. Their overage was a little less than we expected, but we had 3 wind turbine projects, not 2. So while our income was more, we still had a few more expenses. Are there any questions on the financials?
I don't see any questions. Thank you very much. I think that is our report.
You all set then, Chris?
I'm
Let's
sorry.
move.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, you're all set?
All set.
Let's move on to the bridge traffic report.
Better news, it's been improving, as Chris mentioned. We're around 70% of our normal traffic, which we, as you know, we've always been using 2019, but it's encouraging there. And then when you go to revenue, you do see, especially when you compare revenue compared to 2021, you just see it's well, close to $100,000 there, 90,000 that we didn't have last year. But you can see we're getting there. Truck traffic, it's constant, but I've seen that number over the years. That can look normal, especially in wintertime. They can go up and down, and based on weather and the time of year with winter, that can vary. Sometimes it's surprising where it goes up for truck traffic, but generally, anything 10% either way, actually to me is normal from what I've experienced over the years. So I'm not too concerned about that number. The other one is encouraging. So are there any questions on that?
Sounds good.
Okay, I've got something just want to bring up that I've been working on. Many of you probably don't know, but we have a sister bridge that crosses in the Quad Cities area, I-74, and it crosses the Mississippi. and it's built identical to our bridge. It was built by Majeski and Masters roughly at the same time. And that bridge has been replaced by a dual bridge, but you can share these photos there. Here, let me see here. There's a photo of the new bridge that just opened last month, I believe, but you can see next to it, that was a twin of our, but you can see that looks very familiar to you all, right?
Mhm.
Well, I first became aware of this when Parsons did a cable inspection back in 2015 and 16. And they do inspections for Iowa on the original bridge there. And so they just said, hey, they pointed out, did you know that? And I kind of heard about it, but I didn't. They had firsthand experience in it, so they were just telling me all about it. So I've always kept an eye on it. And then a number of years ago, they said they were going to replace it. And I didn't really think much about it, but Parsons brought it to our attention. Parsons is also our inspection firm that did the 2022. And they gave me a call and said, would they, on our behalf, they would be talking to the Iowa or whoever owns the bridge. It's due to be demolished. So with that, there's a number of parts that mostly with the suspensions ban, and part of those would be like suspension rods, cable clamps, cable bands, and cable fillers. And what we want to do is open a dialogue with them. They've awarded the demolition already. So there may be it's all going to be demolished, but if they could salvage some of that, and it may be a truckload of really spare parts. Of course, they're much older, but to get some of these things made, if we needed them out there, we don't have that. But we were looking into, and I would take their recommendation on, maybe 12 of these, or because Parsons has been on both bridges, and on our behalf, because I'm thinking, but be something, maybe a flatbed load of spare parts. But the reason I'm bringing it up is I may come to you and say, we need X amount of dollars. Maybe we're both bridge owners, maybe out of, or whatever, or they may need a cost to pay the contractor because instead of just tearing everything down, you've got to have manpower out there to salvage that. And maybe it's not as big a deal, but anyway, I've asked them to interface on our behalf and then send me kind of a list of what they think we need, and I can carry on from there or with their help. But there's going to be a cost in that. But I just thought, we're not looking to do this to replace it. It'll be something just to have, and we both agreed to have some of these parts made for our bridge in an emergency or anything like that would be just probably costlier than, one time would be costlier than what it takes to ship that. So I really just coming to you to kind of make you aware that I may be coming back to you with that in mind, with that. So it's kind of interesting that, it's identical, and we have this opportunity. So
This is could be an excellent opportunity, because stuff that otherwise might end up being junked, melted down.
yeah, you really on a certain level where what do you call it now?
One's trash is another one's
Right,
treasure.
right.
Yeah.
There's all, what's the word they use, reusing and repurposing, I don't know. But, and it would be good to have, just reassuring to have that so that
That's right.
James won't have to worry in the future. Get the call at midnight and go, oh, we got one, we can fix that.
See, you got that lined up for us.
Yeah, I'll take care of you guys. But anyway,
Where is it?
Moline, Davenport, what is Quad Cities? Bettendorf, Moline. I was out there at the John Deere factories right there. And it was in '98, so I wasn't working here, so I went across it, but I didn't realize that it was, I didn't know that connection then,
Mhm.
but I know I've been across it. But it's Moline, Illinois, is it Bettendorf, Iowa? Davenport.
Iowa.
Davenport's
Yeah,
right
it's the
there.
Quad Cities there, and I'm missing one there. But and it spans the Mississippi, so.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, it is.
I wonder if you're talking to them again, find out how much it cost to.
Davenport, Bettendorf, Rock Island,
Rock
Moline.
Island, that's
Yeah.
it. And what was the other one?
Moline.
Moline, so I had 3 out of 4.
I want a twin span our bridge.
You want a twin span?
It's very pretty.
Oh, at night, it's got all the LED lighting of that bridge there, so there's a lot of community pride in when the bridge is open. And then they have pedestrian and bike lanes that
Very nice.
allow, safe passage there with that, so it's pretty interesting.
Mhm.
Might not be able to do that with an international bridge.
No, you could have 30 years ago.
No.
Yes.
but
And I don't think the Mississippi is as wide as the St. Lawrence.
No,
That might make a difference. Couple $1 billion. Well, good. Hopefully, we can get some of those parts.
yeah, so I'll keep you updated on that progress there.
Good.
Thank you.
Airport activity?
We
I don't
don't
see a
have,
report.
we don't have a report on that. It's kind of just trying to put everything together with Stephanie being gone. We'll have to get that out.
Any general idea on employments? Passenger count running about the same or
Yeah, I think what I understood, it was pretty level.
pretty level?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, board activity report?
As you can see, we received 923 tons of gluten pellets and have trucked out 455 tons. We haven't received any gluten meal in October, and I've only shipped a small amount of 141 ton out. For salt, there was a delivery of Goma Compass returned again with 23,000 ton. And on the last page, I added a photo of the Gruber rail car conveyor. The second piece of equipment from the Chris Hugh grant.
I don't believe we have that. I don't have that, what you're referring to.
It was
Oh, I-
second in here.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I know I don't
I
have
was
it.
late to the party with that,
Oh, okay.
Looks up.
but I thought it was very,
Oh. Very nice.
very neat. The Mark Gruber, owner operator of the company, actually made an appearance and helped put the pieces together, and then show myself and the rest of the staff how to operate and maintain a piece of equipment.
Yeah, just as a reference, we bought the first one for a little over 100,000 in 2010. So 12 years later, this was 229.
Yes.
So it's doubled, but this is much more stout. The guys seem to think it's a much better
A lot more
unit.
efficient.
So,
Is it?
so partly you're probably paying for a much better or more efficient machine.
You've seen.
Very good. Anything else? Any more ships you expect in this shipping season?
We
Before it
just
closes?
got one on Monday. The Leech, that unloaded 28,000 metric tons Monday. So I believe that's the last expected ship for this year.
Which is that one sitting outside the channel? It's been there for almost a week now.
Yeah, down by the,
Below.
I noticed it the other day when we came back.
Yeah, still there.
Yeah, I haven't heard any on that. I thought that was just a 1-day thing, but
Yeah.
you said it's,
Still
Still
there. Yeah. Maybe there's an issue.
How many does that make, let's say, for the year, ships that have come into the port?
oh, let's see.
3 cell ships.
Hmm?
3 cell
3
ships.
stall ships and what, 5? Yeah,
Like wind turbine chips?
yes,
Something
Mhm.
yeah.
between 8 and 10.
And we're keeping dialogue with the salt company. You don't know what their production is, that they may need more storage or something like that. So we're just kind of saying we're kind of positioning that so that we could take some more if we had to. That's always a good thing. You got up until Christmas really that they could go that way because they're just within the system. So if they came and dropped, they'd go back. They wouldn't be going out.
Right. So we do have available space.
Yeah.
Up and dock.
Yeah, and our partner is really in tune with Compass Minerals, so
Good.
that helps.
The building occupancy report and the industrial commercial prospect report. Anthony?
So the biggest change for the Commerce Park campus occupancy is we can officially show that Building 11 is fully occupied now. Okay, so we're very pleased to report that we're running at about a 5% vacancy rate. And I think October, the national average was right around 4.1. So, and it's really based on metropolitan areas. So where rural areas usually run high. So I think we're doing pretty well on that front. We're pleased to report that our new tenant, Frank Ralph's, is moving in as we speak.
Good.
And they are anticipating that they're going to start production by the end of this month. So we're very excited to have them here. And once they get set up, we'll set up some times to maybe you can tour the facility and see, we'll do some more press release and some more things like that. But let him get on his feet and get settled in.
Sounds good.
And then we have Strader Ferris, which is a current company that's going to be occupying the rear of Building 11. They officially do now, but they haven't moved in yet. So ideally over the next couple of weeks, they're going to be doing that. We've renewed our radio ad commitments in Canada for the airport. So if you're listening to the radio, please tune in to 97.5 or 107.9. So it's Moose FM, which is in Prescott and Kempville, and their Kempville station does get into Ottawa. So you'll see, you'll hear what our ads are all about. And also we're on WPBS. So if you happen to be watching Rick Steves from 7 to 7:20, we're the set of commercials after he gets done. So that's cool. And we successfully submitted the ARPA tourism grant application to the St. Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce. It takes about a month for them to review and get back to us with any feedback or, if it's funded. So that would essentially be $25,000 for OGS website redesign, totally revamp.
That'd be great.
Customer service oriented would be the new one, and then some out-of-home marketing in the Ottawa market. So
Good.
the digital billboard signage, stuff like that. So we're optimistic that's going to come through. Mr. Chairman, you had a question regarding FTZ scenario, the last board meeting. So after some more thought, reflection, and research, I think you were saying, can we utilize our FTZ even though manufacturer is at a different location? So anytime something comes into our FTZ and then is imported in the United States, it would occur a duty, and that may be different. So raw materials or end products would have different duties, but there is what we could do is inbound transfer from one FTZ to another. So there's multiple FTZs, different areas of the country, even within the state. So there is opportunity for us to be utilized as kind of a cog in the supply chain for any company that would be interested in utilizing
Good.
us.
That's good information.
So just something to keep in mind.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, it does.
Yep. And then we've just been talking internally about more outward facing activities now that we're getting kind of the house in order to start really pounding the pavement on attracting new companies and making sure we're still taking care of our current clients. So we're optimistic, and there's things in the works that we just
Yeah.
can't really disclose, but
And just to get a balance here that some of the things we're doing, like say our focus with the out at the airport with the new terminal, it's for the future, but it's very inward looking. So we're just going to be careful of with staff and everything, the amount of time that, you know, we get focused on rearranging things, policy, that it's all inward focused. Some of that's good for the long run. It is good for the long run and it'll pay off. But the one thing that Anthony and I agreed on, that now we've got to kind of pivot to more outward looking. And he has been doing that, and everybody in some way, but especially with Commerce Park, there's some outward there, but we're thinking more long-term and also getting him out there with that. So that's kind of our strategy right now, and just being aware of where our concentration is so that we don't pass by things. And you all have pretty good antennas about what's going on. And sometimes we'll say, what are you talking about? And that, I don't want it to be like that. I want to kind of at least be there or ahead of things for that.
Great.
I'm sorry.
no, that was all right. That was the end of my report for tonight.
Yeah, we don't want to miss an opportunity. It's out there. Good. Any questions of either James or Anthony? No?
Nope.
Okay. So Lawrence, any unfinished business?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll move on to business items. General administration. Agenda item 1A.
Okay, so this is the approval of foreign trade zone site operations agreement under the alternative site framework with border pallet storage and submission of application for usage-driven designation, also known as minor boundary modification, to Foreign Trade Zones Board, including concurrence requests from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So as the grantee of Foreign Trade Zone number 118, staff has negotiated a foreign trade zone site operations agreement under the alternative site framework with border pallet storage, who are the recent purchasers of the ACO property here in Ogdensburg and are seeking to utilize the foreign trade zone for storage, consolidation, and distribution services for Canadian clientele. This agreement grants zone site operator status to border pallet storage and gives them the authority to utilize the zone site as a foreign trade zone, subject to the terms, conditions, and restrictions set forth in the agreement and in accordance with the standards of operation required by the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Once agreement is executed, staff will formally request approval of the application for usage-driven designation or minor boundary modification with the Foreign Trade Zones Board of the United States Department of Commerce and secure a concurrence letter from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection documenting their agreement to this arrangement. This operations agreement is a standard template document that the board approved a number of years ago. We've continued with that to utilize that framework, and we're working with our FTZ attorneys to make sure everything is done appropriately. But this will allow the new purchasers to utilize the FTZ.
So we have authorization to have, to be the operator of an FTZ anywhere in the county.
Yes.
But every time someone wants to utilize that, this is what we have to go through.
Yes, yeah. So as the grantee, we also have the right to be the zone site operator.
Yeah.
What this agreement does is put all those obligations, those operational obligations onto this company, and they act essentially under our purview.
Right.
So,
And part of that is we receive a stipend.
yes, yeah. There's an annual fee that they pay in the amount of $5,000 for the life of these agreements are typically 20 years.
Right.
So for over the life of the agreement, they'll pay us that annual fee.
Good.
So
What's good about this is since they're utilizing space here
Mhm.
for Canadian clientele, they're using our bridge.
yes.
It's very good. Good job. The resolution is before you. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Been made, seconded?
Second.
Any further discussion? You gonna call it roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Move on to agenda item A2.
The appointment of a records access officer. Each year, the Freedom of Information Law, the authority is required to designate a records access officer to coordinate a response to public requests for records from the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. In the absence of a senior administrative assistant, the Director of Economic Development, Anthony Adamczyk, shall be designated as the authority's records access officer, and this designation should be renewed yearly at the authority's annual board meeting unless the administrative position is filled.
Resolution is before you. Motion?
I'll move it.
Motion's been made, second.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, agenda item, oh, we're down to the airport. Can't believe we don't have anything for the airport. D1,
Agenda item D1, it's the designation of the lead agency and adoption of the seeker negative declaration. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority has begun preliminary planning at the Ogdensburg International Airport for the renovation of the terminal building and relocation of the ground service equipment building. This is titled the project. In accordance with regulations of Article 8 of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, the authority desires to take the position of lead agency for this project to determine whether the development of this project may have a significant effect on the environment as defined in the SECRA Act and the regulations, therefore require preparation of an environmental impact statement. As the lead agency, the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority has prepared a short environmental assessment form, SEAF, a copy of which is presented and reviewed by the authority at this meeting, copies which are on file at the office of the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority. The authority pursuant to the regulations has examined the SEAF in order to make a determination as to the potential environmental significance of the project and determine that the project is an unlisted action. This is a requirement, will be a requirement of the DEC, so we need board approval, and I can sign that, or yes, I can sign that, and that'll be part of our package of documents that have to be submitted to move forward on that. Are there any questions?
so the main part of this says that the project will not have a significant effect on the environment. The authority will not require the preparation of an environmental impact statement. And the authority has prepared a negative declaration with respect to the project, correct?
Correct.
That's actually the meat of the whole thing.
Yeah, and we positioned the project to begin with. Wetlands are always an issue at the airport, so we're very aware of that, and there's some close to the terminal, but we were able to position everything around that so that we avoided any of that, so we minimized that.
Good. Resolution before you, is there a motion?
So moved.
Made, second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes,
Ms. Lucas?
Yes.
thank you. And the following is all the information on it. You get the money. Agenda item D2.
Agenda item D2 is the approval of the sale of the double-wide modular home out on New York State Route 68. It's east of the end of the runway. There, we purchased that as part of that property, had 50-something acres, maybe more, of acreage that we needed in order to get a clearance for runway takeoff and to be able to manage those lands. So that property was purchased for, I believe, about $100,000 in 2014. And we really weren't interested in the modular home or the barn that's there. But the modular home served as a construction trailer or site trailer for the project. So there was some value in that. But over the years, we don't have the heat on in there anymore, and it's deteriorated. And but anyway, in April of 2021, I brought this to the board to declare it surplus property. We had a minimum bid there. We had no takers. Later on, I was always getting calls about people interested in it, and I would just say to them, yes, it's surplus property. We didn't get anything at 30,000. Give us, whatever you want to. Some people, nobody really, I don't know, I bet there was like 4 or 5 inquiries and nobody gave us a letter or anything with that. But Mr. Dickinson was like caller number 6 and said, he said all of these things, the condition, but he's got familiarity with modular homes. So he just said, what are you going to take? And I said, just make an offer and we'll present that to the board. And the offer was for $10,500. I would recommend it's not that property or that it's not going to be any use to us. If it had been taken care of over the years, you'd think it would have more value, but it just with every, all the interest or lack of interest, I'm just recommending that we sell it and get it off the property before, we don't want to put any more effort into maintaining it than we have to. Would you like me to read the report?
No, I think,
I just gave a summary.
yeah, that pretty much, I think some of us, maybe all of us realize what condition it's in. And to get anything out of it, 10,500, I think you're right, it's very reasonable.
How was it valued at 30,000? How did that just be appraised?
No, that's just, when we paid 100,000 for the property, and at the time it wasn't in it would really have been gutted in some ways for an office trailer. So we just put a number on that to just try to recoup some of that cost, but that was a fixed asset cost, the property was, and if we could get some value to that, but that was really just something I'd asked a number of people at the time, and that was the number we put on that.
Okay. Resolution before you, is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion's been made, is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded, any further discussion? Not, call the roll, please. Yes,
Yes. Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
thank you. Agenda item D3.
Agenda item D3 is the approval of the grant agreement with New York State Department of Transportation, and that is for the airport terminal project. This is a big one. The authority has received an aviation project funding agreement from the New York State Department of Transportation, New York State DOT, which provides for terminal renovations, expansion, exterior improvements at the Ogdensburg International Airport. Project identified as NYDOT project identification number, which is PIN 7A03.01. The Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority desires to advance the project by committing funds for the local match. The breakdown of funding shares being New York State Department of Transportation, $18 million. Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, $26,316. Other necessary funding, FAA AIP, which is Airport Improvement Program, and PFC is passenger fare charges. That pot of money is $2,287,898 for a grand total of $20,314,214. Staff recommends acceptance of the grant offer from the New York State Department of Transportation for work at the Ogdensburg International Airport described as terminal renovation, expansion, and exterior improvements at the Ogdensburg International Airport, identified as NYDOT PIN 7A0301. I will a little bit, you see the 2,287,000 number. We have designated, it's called bill money. We've been awarded, I think, 2 years of bill money, roughly about $1 million. We can use this for this project. That's federal money. That came from the infrastructure. I don't know what that acronym is. It's being thrown around everywhere. And then also 1 year of our entitlement money. In effect, that's money. It doesn't come directly out of our revenue, but it's money that we're entitled to, that we arranged our capital improvement, our CIP project. We changed that all around to just focus on being able to fund this project. So we have had to change our CIP, but I believe it's all for the good. And we've probably moved some projects down the road, but this being a focus, that's why what you see in that. And we wouldn't put that under Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority, but I want you to know where that's coming from, because it is a large, the 2 million is a large number. I do need to ask one question. Who, the secretary, who can someone sign this today, tonight?
Is Jennifer the assistant secretary?
No, I am.
Oh, you answer my question. I will need that because with the holidays, mail's not moving. We've got to mail 2 copies of these and have them officially. And we don't have notary. Well, we'll figure that out. But anyway, any questions on that?
No? I'm a notary here. You know, it's been over a year that we applied for this grant, and a lot of people did a lot of work for this. We need to thank all of our elected officials who stepped up and spoke on our behalf. Certainly staff for everything they've done. Our friends and consultants who worked on the project. And we can't forget our friends in labor, including Greg Winsett, president of the Central New York Trades Council, Ron McDougall, president of the Jefferson Lewis St. Lawrence Labor Council, who spoke up for us and helped us in this whole project. As far as I'm concerned, this is a transformational project for this whole region, what this will do at the airport. And I just hope that the area and community understand that now we need to build it and use it so we can improve air traffic in the North Country for all of us. And certainly with our neighbors to the north that we hope will use our airport. So I'm certainly thankful that we're at this point now where we can start construction soon.
Yeah, and I can just give you a quick we're trying to have design and maybe a bid package ready for, maybe design done by May or June, and then have a bid package ready for August. And then the preliminary discussion is of 3 phases. One would be kind of site work, moving the tent that's out there. And then, in other words, get ahead with those things that we can. And then some of those things might be long lead time items rather than slow up one whole package that you bid it in a phase. And then the second phase might be structural steel and the main part. And then the third might be interiors. Don't hold me to all of that, but that's kind of our strategy, so that we're not waiting on one thing just to get something started. We've already authorized the engineers to begin with survey and environmental work already. And the agreement does state that any costs incurred from the announcement of this, which was September 15, 2022, are reimbursable. So I don't think that's too great a risk. And once this is signed and completed, then the clock starts ticking for 2 years. So basically you're looking at December of 2024 with the ribbon cutting.
That's a quick schedule
It
for a
is.
project like that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
But I was talking to Patty a little bit, but those dollar amounts are stuff we're used to. We were almost 19 million on the bridge over a year and a half.
Right.
The port expansion is going to be somewhere in the 17 to 20 million. And then this one's a little over 20. We've been through the finance part of that. So we know what we're looking for to just keep liquidity and we can keep people paid. So I'm getting,
There's quite a lot of activity in this community.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then 2 years in Anthony and James, I put it on them that this is the time that we need to, we're not going to wait. We're going to get out front on those things that may not happen, won't happen till it's open, but we can't just wait till the very end. We want to get any problems or roadblocks that we meet, we want to take them on. And especially if we have a little bit of time to solve them rather than meet at once. And they've been pretty good right off the bat with some ideas with that. So
Good. We've already started the legal part of the project labor agreement.
yes, the McFarland has reached out to Sealer Engineering and given them. I don't know if I haven't seen anything there, but I believe we did get an estimate of what that would be. So they are working on that.
Good.
Which is a requirement of the project. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Anything else from anyone? Is there
It's
a
exciting.
motion to accept this grant so we can
Awesome.
redo the airport?
Mhm.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. So you're gonna need to sign that, right?
I will.
Ooh, put it in front of a notary, right?
Yeah, we don't have to really.
Okay.
Oh, I'll figure it out.
All right. What did I have? Was that it?
That's it.
I am looking for something else and that's it. Oh. Nothing for the railroad, right?
No.
Any other such matters?
None,
None.
Mr. Chairman.
Is there a need for executive session?
I don't have anything.
Anyone? You sure? Okay. Not. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 15th, another Thursday at 4, even though I think 5 is a better time. Does that work? For most of us?
Yes, I just have to be back in Messina by 7.
There you go.
Yeah, I may not be here. So if we want to do a quorum, that would be okay.
Good?
That looks good for me. And are we planning on 5 o'clock?
Yes.
you say?
5.
Got it.
And we anticipate budget approval, or we'll go over the budget then, so it will be a pretty extensive board meeting. But,
Oh,
well, we may go through preliminary stuff already with the finance committee, so it may not be that difficult.
but you can
I definitely have to be back by 7.
look and see if we can get Patty to talk fast.
So if I'm not present, it's still open, like, most people will be here for quorum.
We'll have
We
to
need
check
to make
with
sure
Dave,
Tony-
Tony, and Megan,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we'll set it for that and see how it goes.
Yep.
Okay? Any concluding comments by anyone?
Just wanted to let everyone know that we do have advertisements out for a new airport manager and a new administrative assistant. So the personnel committee will be.
There you go,
Will
busy
be
girl.
busy.
Okay. There you go, Sam.
Tony and Steve.
You thought you were gonna have a quiet holiday. Okay, anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn? Whoop. Jennifer, we all set?
Yes.
All set?
No.
The popular name tonight.
Okay, yeah, really. Jennifer. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved,
Second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. We stand adjourned. It is 6 PM.
Do you want me to call the UP, do we need a notary? I can call the UPS